Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a beautiful 23rd of February, 2021. Coming up in the Crusty Canuck podcast, have a Muppet and a smile and shut the F up. Yeah, that's right. More Coke woke BS, Muppet censorship, and abstinence. Abstaining. Liberal government standing on abstinence in regards to the genocide going on in China. And all that and more coming up in the show. Stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
Listener discretion is advised. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, more Coke woke BS, giving the Muppets a hard time, and the Liberal government abstaining from condemning the genocide in China as we speak. And not to mention a few other political pundits and farblegarb that's been going on in this country today. Yes, I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And yes, I've talked about the whole Coke woke thing before in regards to certain companies being politically correct, but Coca-Cola, as we see it now, has done the most ridiculous thing ever, hiring a so-called white oppression expert and dictating terms to people on how we have to be less white and how people have to be less white. Now, I'll leave links in the description and all that good stuff for you to read along and decide, but basically what I read about this article from the Post-Millennial is that here's a so-called woke individual telling these corporate moguls and companies alike how it's terrible being white. Now, I was not raised in a racial household. Yeah, I'm a white guy. Oops, sorry, but not sorry. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and explain myself because I was born a certain way. Nor do I explain any black person to explain themselves, or brown person, or pink person, or yellow person, or whatever you identify to explain yourselves and why you are what you are. Because I'm a firm fucking believer that it's okay to be you. Period. How else do I say it? You know? And Coca-Cola being one of the biggest major companies on the planet, not just in North America, but everywhere you go in the world, there's always some kind of Coke logo someplace, trying to sell you the soft drink, trying to sell you products thereof, whether it's the Powerade, whether it's this drink or that drink. I think they have Fanta too. I'm not exactly sure. I remember that brand when I was a kid. Different flavors, grape, orange, all that good stuff. And yet now they're promoting this whole woke agenda, how to be less white. Now, how does one person be less the color they are born with? Right? How does a person be less of what they are? How they're born, right? How does a person get to that point? How does a person get to a point where they have to be less of something in their natural visual mode? Okay? I can understand being less of a dick when you are a dick. I can understand being less of a douchebag when you're being a douchebag. I can understand being less of a wimp when, especially it calls times to stand up and be strong. But there was a heading in the headline there, and I'll leave a link in the description. And it's telling you to be uncertain. Not to be certain, I believe. Not to be certain. In this day and age, right now, 2021, technological advances left and right, especially in the social media spectrum, telling you not to be certain, right? Because if you're certain, you're promoting whiteness, right? Is that the logic, right? So if I walk around all the time and I try not to be certain about things, are you telling me that I shouldn't be an adult? I should second guess myself everywhere I turn around? Every time I go to the store, every time I fill up my truck of gasoline, every time I pay a bill, every time I kiss my wife, I have to be uncertain. I should not be certain. How will anything get fucking done if you're not certain? How can you look up to leadership in any conglomerate? Doesn't matter if it's corporate, military, government, privately owned, mom and pop shop, Daisy Duke's fucking employer here or whatever, and you're told not to be certain. So does that mean a customer can walk into your store who doesn't happen to be Caucasian and they can tell you they want this and want that and you don't have to be certain with them? Is that the logic? Right? or any customer for that matter, or any client, or any person in trade and commerce, you don't have to be certain? Is that the logic you're trying to promote? And this is coming from so-called educated officials telling these wonderful fucking stories. They also say don't be apathetic too. Don't show any apathy. Why not? Why not? So let's sum it all up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to sit and dwell on every little column that this creature wrote on behalf of the human race, as we think. Right? Bullshit. Total bullshit. Right? Here we have individuals telling us how we cannot be something for the sake of something else. Okay? Now, I can understand simple things like don't be greedy because there might be people that need help, or don't be an asshole when people need to hear a sympathetic ear of some sort. But there's also a line here that I'll emphasize that really drove me up the fucking wall. Yes, this comes from the Daily Mail in the UK. The headline is, LinkedIn takes down white authors' slides telling people to be less white and less oppressive from its learning site after backlash against the Coca-Cola for using the video in diversity training. Right? Well, basically, this individual is telling us what to do. I'm just looking at the here, so bear with me, folks. I had this queued up before. Basically, the slides say confronting racism, understanding what it means to be white, challenging what it means to be racist. Well, I know what it means to be racist. That's obvious. So the headline is, to be less white is to be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain. That's what we're trying to be, less certain. So don't be certain of yourself. No, don't do that. That's racist. Be less defensive. Okay, so be compliant to today's bullshit. Okay. Be less ignorant. Well, that's a fundamental of adulthood, basically. Try to get to know your surroundings. You go to move to a certain area or know the town or know this. You try to know the people around you. That's called communicating. Be more humble. Well, in a way, we need to be humbled one way or the other. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, pink, purple. It doesn't matter if you're Asian or brown. It doesn't matter how you identify. Humbling is a very good tool to teach the individual how to do something, right? Listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. Okay, that speaks for itself. Nobody that I know in my circle is in any way lined with any kind of white solidarity movement. So for this individual to sit there and try to make this fucking public, she's right the fuck out to lunch. Anyway, carrying on with the story from Daily Mail. A set of controversial training slides by a white academic encouraging people to be less white have been removed from LinkedIn's learning platform after Coca-Cola came under fire for making them available to its staff. Well, shame on Coca-Cola, right? The slides in question, which went viral on social media after they were revealed by a whistleblower working for the soft drink giant in the U.S., told viewers that being less white meant being less oppressive, less arrogant, and less ignorant. The slides come from a series of LinkedIn-hosted videos called Confronting Racism with Robin DiAngelo, a white academic who argues that even well-meaning white people are complicit in racist structures unless they actively work to be an anti-racist. Well, to be an anti-racist means you're born in a country and born with people that are teaching you the right way to do things. Doesn't matter what color you are, folks. If people still have to be reminded not to be racist, then there's a problem on the individuals, not on society. After calls for boycotts and lawsuits against Coca-Cola, the firm said it merely provided access to the slides in the LinkedIn learning site as part of its diversity training, rather than making them required viewing. But the slides have now been taken down altogether at the request of the third-party content provider we license this content from, a LinkedIn spokeswoman told Newsweek on Monday. Right? Basically, the heading says, try to be less white. Now, yes, I admit there are racists in society today. That's not hard to figure out. But racists come in all shapes and sizes, all colors and creeds too. Like I've mentioned in previous episodes as well. Right? I remember 7 conversations I had with individuals in regards to racial BS. And out of those 7 individuals, 2 of them were white. Okay? I'll leave that for another episode. I'll get into more details about that. But I remember those conversations. And they were quite disturbing, the points of view that these individuals had when it came to race and people and organizing this and organizing that. And it was quite shocking. And this was in my 20s. So Maybe those fucking clowns are dead now. I don't know. But needless to say, quite disturbing. And I'll just repeat what these slides are saying. To be less white is to be less oppressive. Be less arrogant. Be less certain. Be less defensive. Be less ignorant. Be more humble. Listen, believe, break with apathy, and break with white solidarity. Now, I'm going to ignore that last one because nobody, like I say, nobody I know in my circle that happened to be white or any kind of solidarity movement whatsoever over the color of their skin. I had a boss overseas that was black, and he was probably the best fucking officer I ever worked for. So don't hand me that shit about solidarity, lady. Okay? And needless to say, I shake my head. And Miss Robin DiAngelo, you're right the fuck out to lunch. Okay? It's just fucking... Like even this garbage she puts on here. In the U.S., the other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel that they are inherently superior because they are white. Research shows that by age 3 to 4, children understand that it's better to be white. Okay, who in their right fucking mind tells their kids that? Especially this day and age when you're telling kids that it's okay to change your gender. You can be a girl. You can fly. Yeah, really? What a dumbfounded fucking statement that was. Right? Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of this article. This is just fucking bullshit. Like, you see my point now too, right? So, I could sit here and say, let's boycott Coca-Cola. Let's boycott every Coke aficionado, whatever. Let's boycott this drink. Let's boycott that drink. Don't buy Coca-Cola products, whatever. Half the time, I don't drink this shit, ladies and gentlemen. To be honest with you, I'm more of a Pepsi dude. If I was to sit and have a can of pop, the last can of pop I had, I think it was actually an Orange Crush. That was fucking tasty. That was delicious. But I don't drink a lot of fucking pop. And to my American friends, I don't drink a lot of soda, to be honest with you. I really, for the past 10 years, I haven't touched a lot of Coke or a lot of Pepsi or a lot of sugary drinks. I think the most sugar-saturated drink I've had is maybe chocolate milk. And I have the odd glass of wine, the odd glass of mead. I barely drink beer. For that matter, I barely drink anymore. I'm more of a coffee hound, more of a tea hound, right? And lots of water and lots of other juices. So I don't drink as much as I used to. But really, it doesn't affect my lifestyle what Coke products are out there or not. Just the absolute fucking buffoonery that's promoting this agenda. And especially to the people that bought into it, too. Now, good for LinkedIn for taking it down, for being a little realistic. But for these individuals that have gone out and published this garbage, right, and promoted it as if it's some kind of fucking gospel, and all these professional victim professor type wannabes, get over yourselves. Get your head out of your ass and start being a fucking human being. Because basically that little list you told me about is basically telling me that I'm not good enough for anything. And that's not right. That's not right. And the people that promote this fucking garbage, you're no goddamn better than the Jim Crow aficionados of yesteryear and the actual fucking bigots and segregationists and racists of yore. So think about that, fucktards. Anyway, enough of this. Here's a message from my sponsors.
This is Brian Boucher, the new CEO of Canadian Gold Corp. We have gold at 99% purity with discounts ranging from $100 up to $200 off the ounce. This is the right place to buy, from 2-gram cards to 400-ounce bricks. We have any quantity of gold you are looking for. We also sell by the ton, not like your ex-wife. Visit us today at canudgold.com, C-A-N-U-N-D gold.com.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
In October of 2015, Lindsay Robbins, like many of her fellow Canadians, was struggling with the turmoil of mental illness. The ups and downs of what she was going through was shaping her realities, and she longed for structure. As luck would have it, that structure presented itself to her in the form of gardening. And through gardening, Lindsay had an awakening that led her to create Produce for Heroes. Lindsay realized that our veterans were going through their own mental struggles, and through her own experience, she realized the power of community. By desiring to help the way that she had been helped, she has created a program that provides relief to veterans. Her food program, which aims to provide veterans and their families relief from the stresses of food insecurity and help alleviate the cost of living for those that have sacrificed so much for their country. Whether it's through directly contacting Produce for Heroes or through a friend's referral, all veterans and their families living in Canada are welcome. By shining a light on the struggle of veterans and their families, Lindsay is hoping to get her fellow Canadians to hop on board and support Produce for Heroes and our great veterans. If you or a veteran you know needs help, ProduceForHeroes.com is a great place to start.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.
Yes, indeed. You can reach Brian and Scott at CanonGold.com and contact Lindsay at Produce for Heroes. Links will be in the sponsorship heading in the description. Anyway, enough of the Coke woke BS. Now carrying on with Disney. More of the controversy with Ginacarano and her lovely, honest-to-God tweets and the bullshit she's had to go through. And I highly suggest, ladies and gentlemen, get a hold of the Ben Shapiro show and watch that interview. I really sat with my wife, and we really sat and had a really good time watching her story. And what I like about her is that she's not your typical actress. She's not coming across as a total victim or a damsel in distress or oppressed. But when she was talking to Ben, you can really see the fear in her eyes and the letdown and the disappointment, you know, that her career is compromised because she had an opinion that's different than any corporate conglomerate or the so-called social norm. But really check that out if you can. I'll leave a link to that show too. And coming up with the Muppets issue. Now, apparently, it just gives me giggles even thinking about it. I guess Disney now puts an offense warning every time they put on the Muppet show. Now, my wife has a Disney Channel. I don't have it myself. We cast it in our TV, what have you. We'll watch the Disney show. I'm more of a Black Hole fan. And I watch The Mandalorian because that's where I got insight on Gina Carino's career and Pedro Pascal and all those guys. But, you know, now they've got a warning over the Muppet Show to warn viewers about sensitive issues, I guess. Oh, my goodness. For fuck's sakes, they're puppets, for crying out loud. They're adults under a different stage with their hands up their butts, making them say things and do things. It was Jim Henson's dream. And I remember my little sisters and I watching the Muppets as children. And we were never offended. There was some tongue-in-cheek humor. But there was nothing dirty about them or anything racially charged about them or anything offensive. It was entertainment. It was good, clean family fun. And now these clowns at Disney, you know, they got to fire people, right, in regards to different opinions. And now they have to warn people over a kids' TV show. What are you going to do next? Is CBC going to turn around and fucking call Mr. Dress-Up subjective viewing? You know, there might be some suggestive lines in his show. How about the Friendly Giant? You can take all of our kids' show of yesteryear and turn into a goddamn fucking conspiracy? Because some people might get hurt? Oh, toughen up, folks. God. It's amazing how there's no riots in the streets over this buffoonery. Honestly. Like, holy shit. Like, I can understand why I put a listener discretion on my show because I drop a lot of F-bombs and I swear a lot and I use the odd C word and denote certain orifices of one's body. But needless to say, I'm not fucking, I'm telling you straight up, this is not meant for children, right? This is meant for adults to sit and listen and to get dialogue going back and forth. But you can't watch a TV show now without the bubble wrap mentality and the helicopter parenting and Big Brother fucking watching you. Can't have a can of Coke anymore because you're too fucking white. Can't watch the Muppets anymore because it's deemed offensive. What's next? Oh, yeah, that's right. We also have our government that wants to promote abstinence. Not in the Catholic Church format, but I think you get my point.
The Canadian polar vortex of bullshit.
That basically sums it up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, they had a vote in Parliament there yesterday in regards to what are they going to do about the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims, correction, if I'm saying that right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The Uyghur Muslim problem, and it's not a problem in China, it's just Chinese communists are known to sterilize them and re-educate them and basically hurting them and maybe killing them on droves. Yet Parliament voted to acknowledge it as a genocide, and yet our liberal leaders abstained from that. Go figure.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, if you do consider donate, ladies and gentlemen, please donate at crustycanuck.ca. You can find my links there via PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or just send me an e-transfer. Please assist me in trying to make this program even better and bigger and allow me to make this a full-time commitment, ladies and gentlemen. With viewers and listeners such as yourselves, you can make that happen for me. So please consider that today. Anyway, carrying on with more of the, abstaining. Yes, abstaining from saying things. Now, why would Justin and his office say that? When you watch it, the mainstream click on that too. I'll leave links in my description. You watch any mainstream click on that issue. When it comes to abstaining from something, you don't want to say something. You don't want to appear as this or maybe appear as that. Maybe they drank too much damn Coke and they're realizing they're too white. I don't know. But when Mark Garneau sat there saying, we, the Canadian government, abstain from this, what is that telling the voters out there? Right? What does that tell the liberal voters out there, too? The people that were ever so in awe of Justin, ever so admired by his long, gorgeous hair and his socks and everything else. Oh, and his prestige about going forward, and diversity is our strength. And barbarism is such a terrible word to use for honor killings, and how China is loved because of their basic dictatorship. And now what are they doing? The rest of the government, the House of Commons, House of the People, are basically saying to the federal government, this is what we say. And now sitting Liberal cabinet members are abstaining from that. What exactly does that fucking mean? It goes up there with the word filibuster and proroguing, right? They just don't fucking care, okay? Now, my lifestyle is not compromised because of what China is. I know a lot of Chinese Canadians, and they're great fucking people. I just don't like the Chinese Communist Party, right? And there's an interview I'll leave in the description too. Primetime Politics hosted with the Chinese ambassador. And he more or less said in the broken Chinese accent, oh, there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here at all. Oh, no. Basically, the Chinese people love what's going on. Of course, they're going to say that. The Russians used to say the same things about the Russian people during the invasion of Afghanistan, right? Other communist states used to say the same thing about its people. Oh, things are prosperous. We are good to go. Yes, machinery is good. People have got bread. We're all happy here. One big happy proletariat. And yet that became a lie come 1991, where all the borders went down and the Cold War was ended. And you're finding droves and droves of people experiencing basic freedoms for the first time in their lives. Yeah, nothing to see, right, Mr. Chinese Ambassador? Yeah, right. So it just goes to prove, ladies and gentlemen, that the Liberal Party doesn't give two shits. Okay? They're happy with their extra carbon taxes. They're happy with the so-called virtue on the environment. They're happy with the so-called virtue on race relations, even though they have done enough damage in this country in the name of race than any other government before them. Okay? Giving special handouts and treatments to certain groups based on ethnicity, trying to pass laws and legislation based on religious right, trying to cancel guns and trying to cancel people for wanting guns because of ridiculous rules and regulations based on nothing but fear and ignorance. Okay? It also brings me to the point, too, when Doug Ford made a comment saying to his opposition, Miss Horworth there, more or less telling her, you're annoying. You're like fingernails on a chalkboard. Now, as much as I love tongue-in-cheek humor and bantering back and forth, it's amazing how the opposition, I think she's NDP, if I'm not mistaken, more or less saying what he said was sexist and misogynist. Really? Well, how do you get sexism out of that? How do you get do my dishes or make me a fucking sandwich or clean my fucking pots, or know your fucking place out of that statement? Honestly. Now, mind you, I'm quoting Andrew Dice Clay in some of his old comedy from the 80s, but even that is not really fucking sexist when you think about it. I could tell my best friend to make me a sandwich, and he'd probably do it, but it wouldn't matter. It just goes to prove how these so-called elected officials have no cojones, have no thick skin, do anything but be professional complainers and professional victims, all in the name of so-called progress and diversity. Yeah, well, they're promoting adversity. Proof's in the pudding, ladies and gentlemen. Right? How else do you get things done if you're going to sit on your hands and whine about someone telling you sound like somebody with fingers on a chalkboard? We've all heard that. That is fucking annoying. Honestly, it really is. Some people don't really mind, but it drives me fucking nuts. What say you? CrustyBCanuck67@gmail.com. Send me an email or two. Let me know. I also enclose my writing address, too, in the description. So if you want me to write me a letter, send me a card, send me some free stuff, by all means, please do, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see some mail other than a government bill or a reminder of how much money you fucking owe people again. Anyway, again, carrying on, more of this, abstinence or abstaining. Yes, the fancy word. We're going to abstain from saying anything this time because we have better things to do, because we like to get the slaps and tickles from our Chinese counterparts in telling us what to do. Right? And if you listen to that interview from Primetime Politics, too, you can basically see and hear the ambassador talking as if he was some kind of victim or something. Now, maybe he is. Maybe the Communist Party of China is holding something against him, and he better walk the line or else. But it seems like everybody's carrying that mandate right now. You better walk the line or else. You better say this or else. You better do this or else. Right? You better believe in this or else. You better believe in climate change or else. You better believe that this pandemic is going to kill us all or else. You better believe that the world's going to end in 9 years or else. Or else what? Going to cancel more people? Close up more shops? You're going to arrest more pastors for practicing religion? A fucking right you're allowed to in this country? You're going to lock more people up? Better do this or else. Well, you keep locking people up and finding people, especially people that have no jobs or no ways of actually supporting themselves anymore. You're going to have a hard go trying to pay these fucking tickets off. And you are going to overwhelm the jails and the prisons for the sake of safety. You keep it up. In fact, I think a lot of prisons and jails are overwhelmed now more than any hospital is, based on the COVID lies, based on the pandemic bullshit. Nobody's denying it, ladies and gentlemen. We understand it's a respiratory infection. We understand there are good people that are dying, especially 82%, or it was 82 or 80, almost 85% of senior citizens in LTC, long-term care, have died because of it. With the exception of maybe 2 or 3 people that died outside of LTCs and the occasional spread. But if all of a sudden you come up with a number saying 975 people have these cases and 12 have died, that's still a low number. And I'm not condoning and I'm not wishing harm on anybody. But come on now. Starting to be realistic here. Right? And then the mainstream media is promoting all these protests as if there's some kind of white fascist fucking rally. What a fucking joke. Right? Saying that there's tiki torches and remnants of the Charlotte fucking march that happened a few years back, which is total bullshit because I've seen the footage of the Edmonton rally. There were no tiki torches. There might have been the odd one, but it wasn't enough to validate anything racist, right? I'll say again, if there's any mainstream media aficionado out there listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to challenge you to a debate too, okay? Just like I said in my last episode, I want to challenge any member of the Liberal Party, the federal Liberal Party, to an actual debate that I will host on StreamYard. Okay? I will host it on StreamYard. I'll have a debate with you over the gun issue, over the pandemic issue, and other political blunders that your party has promoted since 2015. And I also extend that invitation of a debate to any mainstream media broadcaster out there that wants to debate me too. That's out there. It's on the floor. There, I tossed my hat in the ring. You can reach me at CrustyBCanuck67, right? Give me a time and date when you're available, and we'll have a good fucking debate like Canadians should, right? Like our politicians should, without worrying about fucking words like abstaining or proroguing or filibustering or dog fucking. So what's out there, folks? You heard it here in the Crusty Neck podcast. I challenge any mainstream media reporter that has been out at these events, any editor, any producer, and any liberal politician, especially on the gun issues in this country, on the political issues, i.e. the COVID vaccine, immigration policies, clean water, and overall your work ethics. I want to see a debate. I would love to have a debate with all of you. So the invitation's out there, folks. You heard it. You heard it right here in the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
I'll say again, any mainstream media aficionado, great know-it-all, great reporter, great person that thinks their shit don't stink, and any liberal cabinet member, right? I challenge you to a debate. Right? Send me an email to the above mentioned emails. I'll hook you up on StreamYard. We can sit and have a debate, and we're going to have an audience too. I'm going to have people, clue in and sign in and let them ask questions as well. See if you got the guts to stand up to a little Canadian like myself. Somebody who's been around the world a couple times. Somebody who's seen things and done things, right? Seen things and done things that he's not really proud of. But it's worth a wealth of fucking knowledge and a hell of a lot more than your fucking so-called university encyclopedias that tell you what to think, and when to write it. And who's going to wipe your ass for you in the long run, right? Something to think about, folks. Well, little birdie told me, some people from the VCP, other people from the PC party have told me that there is going to be an election in the works. About fucking time, right? And like I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, I am a member of the Veterans Coalition Party. I'll leave a link in the description. You can look it up. Randy Joy is the leader. Like I said, I worked with Randy in 1RCR back in Petawawa, Ontario, many moons ago. He was always a stand-up guy, good leader, thorough, and fair. And he's also a family man, too. So please, look up the VCP party. Well, we are a coalition, meaning that we are made up of many Canadians of all colors, all creeds, all shapes and sizes, all religious denominations, all different personalities and lifestyles galore. Yes, there are gay people in the VCP. Don't be shocked. That's just reality. I'm not. I know quite a few gay people, and they're really good fucking people. And they never use their sexuality ever to get ahead in this game we call life. But something to think about, ladies and gentlemen, right? And I'll leave links to my writing, Blackfoot and Battle River. That's my writing. You can check that out as well, too. And tune in Thursday, if you can, too, for another Crusty Canuck Fastball. The Thursday Fastball. This guest will be Gil Gilbert, the public relations officer of the VCP. We'll sit and we'll talk shop and politics. And we'll just talk about the social and political spectrum in Canada as we see it. And, of course, I'll leave the floor open to all viewers of the Crusty Canuck podcast to weigh in, send us questions, donations, all that good stuff. So please tune into that. That'll be 4 p.m. Thursday, Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my Eastern listeners out there, too. So tune into the Crusty Canuck Thursday Fastball with my guest, Gil Gilbert, Public Relations Officer for the Veterans Coalition Party of Canada. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, after my big spiel, screw the Coke woke, watch your Muppets, and enjoy yourselves. We still have to carry on with common sense. We still have to base ourselves in common sense, too. And if Miss Carino and the powers that be are listening, hats off to you, sister. Well done. Stand your fucking ground. Be firm. Be real. Right? After seeing that interview with Ben Shapiro there, it's like, yeah, I kind of felt bad for you, the way you were treated. And I'll feel bad for anybody who wants to do their thing, whether it's act, paint, dance, write, compose, and they get chastised by some conglomerate over a stupid fucking post. Honestly. Oh, fuck, I shake my fucking head. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 23rd of February, 2021. Let's just hope there is still light in the end of the tunnel. Let's try to be optimistic, do what we can to help each other out to the best of our abilities. Let's not worry about what he said or she said or what they're wearing or what they're not wearing. Who gives a fuck if someone sounds like you got fingers on a chalkboard? I still chuckle at that, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to really start differentiating, too, what exactly is racist, what is sexist, what is xenophobic, and what is just blatant bullshit, too, honestly. We're better than that, folks. We are. We are extremely better than that garbage. And we can do better. Because tomorrow is another day, and I think we can accomplish and conquer anything. Right? But like I say, look after your family, your friends, and your loved ones. Do the best you can for your neighbors. And even though it's not so bloody cold in this country right now, we had that cold snap there, but keep an eye on your truck batteries, car batteries, and all that too. Someone needs a hand shoveling snow, give them a hand. Someone needs a hand with a few groceries, give them a hand. Do what you can, help your neighbors out and your loved ones, all that good stuff. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you Thursday. Bye for now.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane, and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are.